Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome in. Welcome to Bayou Sugar Garden. I am Bayou Sugar, and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome in. If not, welcome back. And I also want to ask that you guys please be sure to hit that like button if you are on YouTube as you're coming in. And also, I am streaming live on Facebook. Please hit that like button and also share me out so that someone may be here watching, may not be aware that I am live, may not have gotten the notification. So please, if you will, please, ma'am, please, sir, share it out so that people can come in and get this good information that we're going to have today. I want to say welcome in everyone that is joining me here on the Facebook side and the YouTube side. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. And I am going to just basically show that I have some manners by welcoming all of you in. One time for those who are on the Facebook side, welcome in. Thank you guys for being here. And for those of you who are live here with me in YouTube, let's speak to a few people. Mike's Chaotic Garden, and welcome in. Thank you for being here. Miss Laura is joining me on the Facebook side. Welcome in. Thank you for being here, Miss Laura. I appreciate each and every one of you. And for those who are in the bushes, one time for the bush people. And for those of you who are catching a replay, I appreciate each and every one of you all and every way that you support Bayou Sugar Garden. I appreciate each and every one of you for your support. Don't forget, if you are catching a replay, to leave me a comment. I do read my comments and I respond to them just to let me know that you were here. And if it was something that I said that sparked something in you, write down, let me know what you're thinking. Because as always, when I have these gumbo conversations, a conversation is not a conversation if we're not talking back and forth. So let me know what you think, what's going on in your brain. Because the saying says, two heads are better than one, and we got more than two in here. Pause on that. But anyway, so before we get started, I do want to let you guys know about other ways that you can support me besides watching here on YouTube and Facebook. I do have a website, and I want to share that with you guys. See if I can go to that. I do offer through my website. I do offer where if you have any questions about social media training or anything with streaming live on social media platforms, if you need help with setting up things, you can reach out to me on my website and let me share that with you so you guys can see it. If you have not been there, before, you can reach it at www.bayousugar.com. That is my website, and when you pull it up, you'll see my name there, and you'll be able to go there and contact me if you want you to get you some social media assistance. If you want to get a custom design website, I do offer that. Or if you just want some gardening information, you can click there, and there are informational forms here. If you click on gardening, it says contact us, and you can just fill in the information and along with your message, like your email, your name if you would like, and whatever questions that you have, and it'll go directly to me, and it'll let me know, what you need assistance with, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can with that. If you have social media questions or needs any help with social media, again, once you click on it, there's a contact form there. Fill it out along with your question in the message area and send it to me, and it'll come directly to my email, and I'll respond to you. Also, again, for the custom design websites, I do design websites from the ground up, or if you currently have a website and you just want somebody to man it, or you want an upgrade or something like that, I do provide those services. So you can go to the website and you'll be able to see the options that I have. It's 175 if you have an existing website and you just want me to take that website and spruce it up a little bit, update it. I can do that for 175. If you have one that you want to be built from the ground up, you'll see the option there where it says create my custom website. That's 275. And then once we get it going, if you want me to maintain it, I only charge $100 monthly to maintain that website every month. For however long you want, it'll be um, that set rate of $100 a month to maintain that particular website. That's just for one website. And if you just want to make any kind of donation here via the website, you can click on my logo here. It says Bayou Sugar Garden, and it says donations to Bayou Sugar Garden. You can click on that and customize however much you want to donate to the to my business, which is Bayou Sugar Garden LLC. So that's one thing. One another way that you guys can support me. Also, with the in addition to that, I also have uh, gardening journals for those of you who like journals. I do have that on Amazon. I have several gardening journals on Amazon. And let's see, let me get back to here so I can share that with you guys. So if you go to Amazon, and here is my gardening journal. This is the year gardening journal. So you can have a gardening journal that you can just log in for the whole year. But I do have other gardening journals that are seasonal. So for each season, I have one for each season, and then I have one just for the whole year. But this particular one that you're looking at on the screen right now is the one for the whole year. If you go to my description on YouTube, you will find that you will find the links for each one on YouTube. And I have dropped the links for those in the chat. I think I did the 365 and I dropped the one. So the first link you have in the chat, let me show you guys. The first link we have in the chat, that one is for the 365 journal. And then the second link you will see in the chat will be for the summer journal. So let me give you a peek of that one. So this is the summer journal, and I put that link in the chat as well. You can click on that and it'll take you directly to the summer gardening journal. Um, and that's the cover of that. I actually have one here in my possession to show you guys the inside of it, what they look like. Just in case you're wondering, where's a journal? What do the pages on the inside looks like? And so let me grab it and I'll show you guys exactly what it looks like. what it looks like in the inside. So, okay, had to grab it. I didn't bring it over here with me. Okay, so if you purchase one of the journals, all of them look the same in the inside. So I have a summer one here. And so in the inside, that's the back cover, and this is the front cover for the summer one. Got your summer fruits and vegetables, things that you can grow during the summer. And then, okay. Oh, CC came in. Welcome in, CC's Texas Garden. Thank you for being here. Thank you, my girl. And Urban Garden Chronicles, welcome in. Thank you for being here. Urban says she's in the bushes getting some work done. I appreciate you being here, Urban. I appreciate you. So, in the inside of your journal, what you will have, the first pages, couple of pages, is is divided in two charts. Okay, so at the top, at this in the first chart, you have your where you could put all of the seeds, list all the seeds you planted with the date that you planted them. So that's for your seeds after you drop your seeds. And then at the bottom, look, trying to do this. At the bottom, once you transplant it, you can write down all the seedlings that you transplanted and put the date in this column that you transplanted. So that's what, and it had the little picture of the in the background. You see the little picture of the pot with the seed in it, and then the transplant is actually a tree in the ground. So that's what it looks like for the first couple of pages for for your journal. But then the rest of the pages is journal pages where you can just type in. It's just lines like if for taking notes, just like notebook paper. The rest of it is notebook paper. Okay, so that's what you got. If you go to Amazon and you want to support your girl that way, just get your journal to do some journaling for those of you that like to keep up with your gardening that way. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I start saying these things when I'm going live just to let people know so people know what I have going on. Because you will not know if I don't say nothing, right? Right. Oh, thank you for asking that question, CC, because I did not mention it. How much for the full year one? So all of the journals are only $12 on Amazon. They're all $12 plus, your shipping and stuff. Every journal is $12. So I did not set those prices to be too expensive. Um, so I think it's a great price for for those that good information. And plus they pretty. I think they pretty. All right, y'all. So I appreciate each and every one of you that have purchased some already. I do appreciate it. Thank you for your support, and I hope you enjoy your journal. My goal when I first launched the journal was to go through my spring journal with you guys. What was my summer journal with you guys, but I ended up moving after the spring. Yeah, go through my spring journal. It was my spring journal, but we ended up having to move to Arizona, and so I didn't really do any fall and spring gardening. So uh, hopefully, once I go back during the summer, I'll be able to go through using my journal with you guys, and we can do it together. Do you have the spring one? Yes, I have the spring one. Uh, Let me see if I can pull that one up. Let's see. Okay, so this is the spring one. Let me share it on my screen. This is the spring one, and I'm going to drop that link in the chat as well. Ooh, my stomach is doing flips, and I'm not hungry because I just ate. So I posted that one. I posted that one as well. And also, I have the winter one for those of you who want to just get ahead and have that one. I'm going to post that link in the chat so that y'all can have all of those links. And if you aren't able to get to this link now, it is available on my YouTube page. If you go to the description, all of those are there. Um, and you can find them there. I think I am. And this is the winter gardening journal that you see here on your screen currently. So I have the winter, spring, summer, fall journals, and then I also have the year journal, the 365 journal. And they're all $12 each. And it's about 200 pages for each one. And like I said in the beginning, all of them are set up the same way. Whereas in the beginning of the journal, you have like your two tables at the top and the bottom where you can write down the seeds that you planted and the date that you planted them. And then once you get ready to transport those seedlings, you'll be able to write down the seedlings, the transport date, and what you transported. So yeah, all of them have the same, are made the same in the inside. Yeah, all of them are the same in the inside. Yeah. So that's the summer one I have. I do have, yeah, I have a spring one too. I think I have one of each one. Yeah, I have one of each one um here. And I have a couple of them that I did a giveaway a couple months back that I have to mail off to some people. I haven't forgotten about you guys. I will send those out to you for those who won. I think when I made 500 subscribers or 700 subscribers, something like that, and I did a drawing, and I had some people to win free journals autographed by me. So you will get those. I haven't forgotten. Let's see. Cece says I'm doing a giveaway for my 4K. Congratulations, Cece! And wanted to give the 365. Okay, let me know. Let me know. I could send you one. I got your address already, I believe. I'll send you one to do a giveaway. Or instead of sending it, whoever wins it, I'll send it to them. Put it like that. So if you want to give one away for your giveaway, they'll just have to email me their information, and I'll get Amazon to send it directly to them. We could do it that way. All righty, all righty. So hey, Miss Rachel, this is one of my members. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. On time for Miss Rachel. Not only a member of my channel, the Sugar Mama membership, but she is also a member of the co-op. So thank you, Miss Rachel, for all of your support. And for those of you who are interested in being a part of the co-op as well, all you have to do is click that join button and join the Sugar Mama membership, and you'll have access to all the meetings. You'll be able to sit in on the meetings, and then if you want to continue and be a part of the co-op, then you can just let us know in that meeting, and we'll get the paperwork to you. It's just a little simple application you fill out, we'll get back to you and let you know, hey, you're officially part of the co-op. And here's another one of my members and part of the co-op, Ms. Wanda Carr Jones. Miss Wanda is also part of the membership and part of the co-op as well. So you guys check out my members. They put great info on their channels. Um, they're gardeners, and they are also participating in our hashtag natural sugar lifestyle change. So you guys go and look on their channels. They have great information to help you out with that. See, oh, I'm gonna donate, CC. I'm gonna donate it. I'm gonna donate it. I'm gonna donate it. That'll be my gift to you as a congratulations for making your 4K. Okay. What's going on, PIA? Welcome in. Thank you for being here. I gotta make a video for some what you call it? Merch that I purchased from PIA. I'm working on a video for that. PIA. That potpourri bag that you sent me, girl, it smells so good. So you got to email me and tell me what you put in it. And do you sell those? Because I definitely will buy them and put them like in my with my clothes and stuff. That is one of my favorite smells. I don't know what you made that with, but that's one of my favorite smells. So I got to get with you on that. Yeah, you welcome, CC. You welcome. You welcome. All right, y'all. So just ignore my son in the back. He upstairs playing this video game. So anywho, we're gonna finish this insulin resistant video. Um, get as close to it as we can, and then you guys can watch the rest at your own leisure. But I just want to make sure I go through a good chunk of it with you guys because I want all of us to be aware um, of the things that's going on because we are gardeners and we are growing things. She said, I will start selling them. I'm trying to just get my fabric sizes right. Well, you doing good, PIA. That is, man, you're going to sell a lot of that one for sure. Definitely, you're going to sell a lot of that one. So I'm trying to get you guys to see how important it is for us to grow our own vegetables and fruits, the things that we eat. And if you can't grow it, support somebody that is doing it because it's important for your health if you want to continue to live. We're buying things out of the store that is literally causing us to develop certain diseases and ailments. I want to be and live at my best and most optimal health for myself, and not only myself but I have children. I want to live as long as I can, and I want to be able to keep up with them, and then when they have grandchildren I want to be able to keep up with them too. You're welcome, PIA. So I just want to make sure that as I am learning and learning information that helps me, that I share it with you guys so you all can be aware. Because I want y'all to be around. I want to be able to pick up the phone and call y'all or come to your house and we go take a walk or whatever for as long as we can walk. We don't want to put our life, the decisions of our health and how long we live. Don't allow somebody else to make that decision for you. You make that decision for yourself. How? By growing your own stuff or by making sure that you um, support someone that is growing using the regenerative gardening or regenerative farming, which means they being as close to organic as they can, not using pesticides, not using these insecticides, herbicides, things like that. They doing it as close to organic as they can because these things that they're putting on the food, spraying on the food, modifying stuff, it will affect you internally. She said, Lord, them grandbabies, yes, we got to be in. Girl, I know it. I know you and PIA know it. Y'all got them beautiful baby girls. Lord, you gotta be in shape to run them boys away. Or be in shape so that finger work, the pull, Oh, we gotta be in shape to keep keep the family in line. So I'm gonna share where we left off last time we were talking. We were watching. Let's see. Let me make sure I do this right. Okay, that's right. Let me remove myself. I'm just rearranging some things, y'all. Okay. Okay, I think I got it. So, just in case you want to go back and look at this video, shoot, I messed it up. Remove myself. Add to the scene. Enlarge that. Let's see. Add myself back. I don't want to be so big though, so I need to slide me down. There we go. Okay, so just in case you want to go back and look at this video yourself, we are watching it from the YouTube page of Diary of a CEO. That is his YouTube page that we are going to be viewing this video from. He have a lot of great interviews on his page. I would recommend that you guys go through it and look through that. It's some great information. They are lengthy, but they're interested. They are very interesting. So I'm about to take my senior nap to get ready for this little girl who will be here shortly. Okay, PIA, thank you for coming in. See. Cece said, I'll be listening from the garden planting some flowers. Thank you, Cece. Thank you. She said, not yet. I'm stretched out on the couch under the blanket. I just might doze off a bit here and there. Okay. Thank you for keeping me running, PIA. Thank you for keeping me running. All right. So let's continue with this video. I think he's about to talk about keto.
So let's talk about ketosis and ketones. The keto diet is becoming increasingly popular from what I've seen. It's actually the diet that I'm on at the moment. How does that play into everything we've talked about?
Yeah. So this is an opportunity for me to do a little bit of nutrient biochemistry or a little discussion of metabolism so that people appreciate what ketones even are and where they come from. So the entirety of the human body is a metabolic hybrid in that the body is largely burning fuel from two sources. It is burning blood glucose or blood sugar, or it's burning fat. Those are the two main fuels for the body by extension. Now, the brain was an exception. The brain is glucose or ketones, but I'll get to where the ketones come from. The rest of the body isn't really relying on ketones as much. It's fats or glucose or blood sugar. Insulin is what decides which fuel is used. So as much as the metabolic engine has two fuel sources, insulin will decide which one is opened and which one is closed. If insulin is high...
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car.
Forward this commercial. All right, here we go. Let's skip
for car insurance. That's
the body is sugar burning. And you can measure this in the whole body level by measuring the amount of oxygen and CO2 that the body is producing.
So he was saying if insulin is high is in your body, then that means you are burning sugar. You're not burning fat. And the goal is to get insulin low, because when insulin is low, then your body is burning fat. Okay? If you're always in a sugar burning mode, you're not losing weight, or you're not getting rid of you're not allowing your body to burn the fat so that you can stay healthy. This is why we become overweight or we become ill, because we start getting inflamed in different areas of our body, whether it's around your abdomen, whether it's around your arms, your legs, your wherever. Just storing fat and storing sugars in your body causes inflammation. So that's why you want to have that insulin low so that you won't have a buildup of inflammation in your body causing you to have diseases, heart disease, lung disease, Alzheimer's, rheumatoid arthritis, whatever it is, whatever the disease is. If your insulin is high, then that's the reason why you have the disease you have. And we learned that from what he was talking earlier. So let's continue.
Because different biochemistry or the burning of the fuels will produce a different amount of CO2.
So if I'm burning glucose, I might be producing more CO2.
Yes. Yeah. So we could hook you up to something called an indirect calorimeter and measure that your RER, the respiratory exchange ratio, the balance between CO2 and oxygen, would go higher. So we increase your insulin. Like if I infused you with insulin in the next few minutes, we would see that your RER would go up and we'd say, boy, you're sugar burning. Or we allow insulin to come down and then the RER goes down, which is reflective of fat burning. So it's insulin that determines whether the body is sugar burning or fat burning. Now, when insulin has been low for about 16 or so hours, something interesting starts happening at the liver. So the liver, with insulin being low, is burning a lot of fat, including its own fat that the liver can store. The liver can store fat, but also fat coming from fat cells. Because if insulin is low, the fat cells are just leaking out fat to be burned by the body. And because insulin is low, the liver keeps burning it. And the liver essentially continues to burn so much fat that it fills its own needs. It meets its own needs and says to itself, hey, I don't need to keep burning fat. I have all the energy I need. I'm doing great. But it can't stop burning fat because insulin is low. And if insulin stays low, fat burning keeps going. And so,
because the body doesn't have enough glucose.
Well, it's acting, so in this sense, it's doing it to help replace the glucose that isn't coming in. That's the value of the ketone. So as the liver is continuing to burn fat, it essentially gets to a point of fat burning where it's burning more fat than it needs. And that excess, if you will, is what becomes ketones. So ketones are kind of a metabolic release valve for the liver cell to say, I don't know what to do with all this fat burning. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. There's not a lot of glucose coming in. And so the brain may start to get hungry. So I'm going to start making ketones. And so ketones are nothing more than a product of a lot of fat burning. And anyone who even fasts for 24 hours, you wake up that next morning, you're in some degree of ketosis.
Okay, so this is where you hear people talk about the ketogenic diet, or they want to be in ketosis. This is what they're trying to achieve. They're trying to get their body to a state to where they have insulin is low and blood sugar is essentially low, and so the body is in fat burning mode, and it's been in fat burning mode so much to where it's just burning fat, but there's no need for that fat anymore. Everything is being satisfied, and so it doesn't stop. It just keeps burning it, and it turns that burned fat into ketones. And that is essentially where you would want to be. You want to be either in a fat burning state, or you want to be in an excessive fat burning state. That means your body is operating at its optimal level and things are functioning. You don't have inflammation going on from the backup of sugars in your blood or sugars in your system causing failures, causing organs not to operate the way that they should. So that's why people do the ketogenic diet, and that's to send their body into a fat burning state. So he mentioned the 16 hours. Let me let you guys know that, hey, Miss Alice, welcome in. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. One time for Miss Alice. We also learned that from Dr. Pelps, Dr. Mindy Pelps, that 12 to 16 hours is relatively when everybody bodies shift, when most people's bodies shift to ketosis, and that could be different for different people. Just because he says 16 hours doesn't mean that you need to fast 16 hours and you should be in ketosis. Some people, you have done so much damage to your body, or your body is so sluggish that it may take longer for it to get to the state of ketosis, or even just to get to the state to where it's fat burning, period. So you have to watch out for the signs and symptoms that your body is telling you that it's in fat burning stage, so that you'll know and not just go by, well, they said at 16 hours I should be burning fat. No, it might not be that for you. It may take a little bit longer. So make sure you're listening to your body.
Lest anyone think it's an extreme thing, people are going in and out of ketosis ideally often. Now, why do I say ideally? It's because ketones are, as we've already outlined, perhaps the best fuel for the brain. The brain thrives on ketones. You can take a person with early stage Alzheimer's disease and have them go through a series of cognitive tests, and they do horribly on them. Like, one example is you ask the patient with Alzheimer's to draw the face of an analog clock, a circle with 1, 2 through 12, and then some hands on it. And it is utter chaos. This is published reports. You then put them into ketosis, ask them, can you please draw the face of a clock? It's still sloppy, but it is absolutely the face of a clock. You ask them when they're not in ketosis to try to tie their shoelaces. They can't think through the puzzle of tying the shoelaces. Ask them to do it again when they're in ketosis. All of a sudden, they can tie their shoelaces. More than that, they can get themselves dressed. All of these are published case reports. It's just my long-winded way of saying the brain thrives when it has ketones as a fuel source. But the benefits don't stop there. My lab published a report finding that when humans were in ketosis, which is just a term for ketones being elevated, we pulled out small pieces of belly fat and measured the metabolic rate of that belly fat. And we found that in ketosis, the metabolic rate of that belly fat was 3 times higher than when the people were not in ketosis.
What does that mean?
Yeah, so that means that the fat was suddenly behaving in a much more energetic way. That fat tissue has a very low metabolic rate. And then all of a sudden, when the ketones came into them, they started getting much more active and they started burning more energy, which is going to be very helpful for someone who wants to lose fat. If your fat cells now have a 3 times higher metabolic rate, that means that the fat cells are starting to act a little bit more like your muscle cells, and they're just burning more energy.
So does that mean that I'm going to lose fat faster? What does that mean?
Absolutely. And that is what happens. There are very well done controlled studies to show that if you control for all calories, when a human is in ketosis, their metabolic rate goes up. Your whole body is just burning more. It's just everything's kind of been turned on a little more. The furnace of the metabolism has just been, you have a little more fuel kind of stoking the fire. So ketones will increase metabolic rate of fat tissue. We found a paper that we published documenting how we took muscle cells and kind of insulted the muscle cells to determine how tough the muscle cells were. When we incubated the muscle cells with ketones, they were much more resistant to injury. So the ketones act to protect muscle tissue. And in a way, that is reflective of a function of ketones. Ketones are a defender of muscle. Ketones are basically the way to tell the brain, saying, brain, you think you need a lot of glucose, and if you don't get enough glucose, you would start stripping the protein from muscle to turn it into glucose. But I'm here as a ketone, so you can eat me instead and leave the muscle alone. So we published, again, a direct report finding that ketones actually make muscle more resistant to. You're seeing more and more elite athletes using ketones as an actual ergogenic aid or like a supplement to help them be better. So at my university, at BYU, just this year, our men's and women's cross-country team took the national championships, the best college runners in the nation. Pretty impressive. One of the things they do is they take these ketone drinks before they train and before they race. More and more of the Tour de France teams take ketone supplements because it is just another fuel. It is something that the body can burn. that we always say, well, if once you start running out of glucose, you're going to bonk or you're going to hit the wall. Well, what if you don't really use glucose because you're burning a lot of fat and a lot of ketones instead, and that keeps your glucose kind of untouched, or you're not relying on the glucose. And we see this in humans. If there's a human that has adapted to a ketogenic diet, they burn fat at a higher rate than was ever thought humanly possible. That fat is basically fueling all of their muscle movement during the exercise session, rather than relying predominantly on glucose.
Okay, so he giving some great advice for those of you who know people. In the beginning, he was saying about how it helps people with Alzheimer's. If you know somebody that has Alzheimer's, put them on a ketogenic diet. It will help to slowly reverse their Alzheimer's slash dementia or whatever. With anything, it will help to reverse it. But he basically, gave you the breakdown of what is happening because you're changing their body, how it's made up. You're lowering the insulin level. Therefore, the body is causing it to burn more fat. And then once it gets to where it's burned, it has all the fat that it needs, energy that it needs from the fat, then it'll continue to burn fat and it'll store that energy as ketones. And then that ketones is what essentially affects your functions. So, as far as athletes, for those of you who have athletes, you want to make sure that they're on these diets. And let me tell you, as a parent of an athlete, there are diets that they tell you to put your athlete on because you want to have them not only just healthy. I think most of people just focus on trying to make sure that they are healthy, but you want to make sure that they are not only healthy and able to be strong strength wise, but you want them to be resistant to illness, resistance to injury, and you want them to be getting the energy that they need, being able to sustain it. And by doing that, it will be wise to put them on a ketogenic diet. Have those kids. I know when we was growing up, we didn't have to think about all this, but food has changed since we were younger. They are putting more things in the food. Things are being genetically modified, made in the lab, and all of that. So now you have to consider these things to keep your athletes from being injured. And let me tell you firsthand, my son sustained a injury to his knee. He tore his meniscus. And I honestly believe that was due to diet. It wasn't like he was eating unhealthy things, but the things that we were consuming did not have the nutrients in it that he needed to keep his insulin low and sustain him from getting injuries. So take heed to this,
The body
athlete
has adapted.
parents.
It's burning fat for fuel, and when available, it's burning ketones for fuel, and it's leaving the muscle as sort of a last resort when it really needs a big kick.
I've seen these keto drinks.
Yes.
They're almost like little shots.
Well, there's a bunch of different types. If you look at the
Yeah, they're
spectrum of
good.
ketones, on one end, you have the cheapest, most readily available, although less effective, called ketone salts, where it takes a molecule of ketone and binds it to a mineral like calcium or magnesium. Not as effective, and it's a lot of minerals, so people will find that they may get a lot of plaque on their teeth,
Yeah.
maybe increased risk of kidney stones, so comes with some consequences. Then you have the ketone ester, which often comes in shots.
Yeah.
Then you have the bioidentical BHB, or the bioidentical ketone. One company, which is Original Ketone, they make it. Now, these ones are more effective. You take a little bit of these and you will get an increase in ketones. They're a little more expensive too.
Let us know,
But as the
CC,
space
how
is
was your
becoming more
experience
competitive,
with
the price
taking
is coming
ketones
down.
and
And
what
what
kind you were
exactly
taking?
does it do? So if I took a shot of a
Yeah.
bioidentical ketone drink, what would go on in my body, and how would that impact my cognitive performance or
Yeah.
athletic performance?
Yeah. So it would result, so you're drinking it in, you're immediately absorbing it from your gut.
Yeah.
So if you were not in ketosis, let's say you had, and I'm not encouraging people to do this, you had just eaten 2 bagels and a cup of sugary coffee. You're no ketones, undetectable, because insulin has come up, it's inhibited ketone production. and then you drink a shot of the ketone, within an hour, we would detect your ketones. They would have gone up maybe to 1 millimolar, which is a pretty significant bump.
Yeah.
And they're capable of that kind of movement. And maybe you do so because you're thinking, I really need to be sharp right now.
Would that make me sharper?
Well, that's where we have to speculate. There's no, my lab published animal evidence suggesting that yes, indeed, it makes you sharper. That we had these animals navigate mazes and recognize objects. And when the animals were on a ketogenic diet, they were much sharper. They were much better at solving
Welcome in,
problems
Netta.
and
Netta, welcome
remembering
in.
solutions to previous problems.
It's I asked this in particular because as my team know, because I've said it to them a lot over the last couple of weeks since I've been on the keto diet, and I've been literally pricking my finger to check
confirming
my keto levels, and the highest I've gotten to is like 2.5,
which is high.
Is it high?
That's not problematic.
Right.
I mean, that is just proof positive that you're in ketosis, which itself is proof positive that you're burning a lot of fat.
Yeah.
And 3, that your insulin levels are low.
Fat dropped off my body like I've never seen in my life.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So the power there is, like, if you'll allow me to kind of springboard off of that comment, the power of, so if someone is listening to this and they're thinking, okay, I need to shrink my fat cells.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they don't realize that there's 2 variables to what caused their fat cells to grow in the first place. They have no awareness of the value of insulin in this formula. All they do is pay attention to the calories. And so the average individual is looking down the road of this fat cell shrinking journey, and they're thinking, okay, what I have to do is just cut my calories. And what do they do to cut their calories? They do the exact wrong thing. And before I even answer that, let me just present the scenario. Let's imagine that Stephen and I, everyone listening is invited. Stephen and I are hosting a buffet. We have the world's best chefs. It is going to be a table filled with the most delicious foods you can imagine. You're in our invitation. We say, come hungry, because you're going to want to try a little bit of everything. Everyone listening, ask yourselves, what would you do to come as hungry as possible? You'd probably do 2 things. Or think, how did you go to your Thanksgiving or your Christmas dinner?
What's y'all answer to that question? If somebody told you that we're gonna have a buffet, I want you to bring your appetite, what would you do? What would you do to come with an appetite? Cece said I was taking raspberry ketones and it helps suppress my appetite and give me more energy. Okay, that's good. That's good. So what would you do? Because you know that when he was finna say about when we have holidays or whatever, when we know we finna eat a lot, you just don't eat breakfast and stuff for Thanksgiving and Christmas because you know you finna eat a whole bunch around lunchtime or dinner time. So you want to save room. For me, my answer would be not eat. I'm not gonna eat because I'm thinking in my mind I want to have room for all this food that I want to taste some of everything. Cece say she would not eat. Yep. Netta say she would come on an empty stomach. P.I. say I don't try to overeat, so I'm not gonna starve myself before the invite. So she's still gonna eat, but she gonna come and still try to. She gonna eat before she come, and she not gonna overeat when she get there. So let's see what the right thing to do. Let's see what he say.
As hungry as possible. You would eat a little less in some period of time before the event, and you would exercise a little more. And it would work. You would be very hungry. That's why the traditional advice given for weight loss doesn't work, because we tell people, eat less, exercise more. Sure, you maybe lose a little bit of weight in the short term, but all that does, you've given them the perfect recipe to promote hunger, and hunger always wins. As a good example, in the US, we have a game show. Maybe there was some version of this in the UK called The Biggest Loser. It was essentially who can lose the most weight. And it was through a punishing regimen of caloric restriction. Eat less, exercise more. That is like the perfect embodiment of that approach. They were starving and they were exercising to insane degrees. And oh my goodness, did they lose a lot of weight. And yet you never see them again.
Okay, so this is a great point. He's letting y'all know why these diets that we tried did not work, because you try to eat less and exercise more, whereas you exercising more, that means you're burning more energy, and whatever energy you, and 9 times out of 10 what you're burning is sugar instead of fat. So you are always being hungry because your body is needing more energy to do more work. But and you don't have you be hungry because you haven't eaten. You haven't provided your body with the calories or with the nutrients that it needs to supplement the exercise. So that's why eating less and exercising more is not helping you. It's just making you more hungry. It's setting you up for failure, basically. What's going on, David Corey with the crop? Welcome in. Thank you for being here. One time for Cropper. And one time for Netta. Netta came in. We was watching the video and I didn't give you a clap. So one time for Netta. David said he wasn't gonna eat until then. So now that is essentially what you do when you don't eat until then. You come hungry. So if you're trying to train your mind and change your lifestyle to where you're trying to lose weight primarily, and because losing that weight helps you get to your more healthier self, you don't want to make you put yourself in a position to where you starving, to where you hungry all the time, because what's gonna happen, you're gonna want to eat. That's not what you want to do when you're on a diet. You don't want to starve yourself, and you essentially should not be doing a diet. You should be doing a lifestyle change. So don't do that. You want to still eat, but it's not the amount of food that you eat, it's the quality of food that you eat. Is what's in that food and what that food is causing your body to do. What responses is initiated in your body.
They don't do a reunion tour 5 years or 10 years later because they gain it all back.
Do you know they gain it all
They
back?
do. In fact, a paper published in the US from the National Institutes of Health documented not only the degree to which they gain weight back, but also how it almost literally breaks their metabolism. That normally a person's metabolic rate is connected to their body mass. A bigger body has a higher metabolic rate. A smaller body has a lower metabolic rate. This is just human physiology. And no surprise, when someone loses weight, there's less of body, and so metabolic rate goes down. As they gain weight back, metabolic rate will typically go back up as well, except for the contestants in The Biggest Loser. They started with a high metabolic rate because of a high body fat level. They lost a substantial amount of weight. No surprise, metabolic rate went down substantially. But this is such a dramatic change that as they started gaining weight back, metabolic rate did not come back with it. It stayed lower than it should have. Normally, it's connected sort of one-to-one. Wherever body weight is going, metabolic rate is going, except in these people. That method of dramatic weight loss through such severe restriction, which is based purely on the caloric theory of obesity, leads to significant hunger. So no surprise, if a person's attempting to shrink their fat cells or lose weight, if the first step is, I'm going to cut my calories, and they don't address their high insulin, they're never going to lose weight.
You gotta do
in the long
both.
run. They're going to step right back to where they were. Because if they start cutting calories, but insulin is still high, that's going to make them very hungry because insulin wants to be storing energy. A professor from Harvard named David Ludwig found this. If you have people eating a lower calorie meal that spikes their insulin, it makes them much hungrier than a lower calorie meal that doesn't spike insulin. So that's the key. Anyone listening, if you're thinking, I need to be on a fat cell shrinking journey, let the first step of that journey be, I'm going to lower my insulin.
Which means
I'm going to control my carbohydrates. I'm going to stop eating carbohydrates that come from bags and boxes with barcodes. And while I am restricting those carbohydrates, I'm going to focus more on protein and fat. So control carbs, prioritize protein, and don't fear the fat that comes with those proteins. Fat and protein together is a miraculous combination of helping you feel full. And it is literally giving everything you need. There are such things as essential proteins. There are such things as essential fats.
You're making me hungry.
So focus on those. And that will be the key to helping insulin come down. Then, as you have found, and when you're hungry, eat. If you're not hungry, don't eat. But what the person will find is they're lowering their insulin, all while their metabolic rate is going up. They're learning how to burn their own fat for fuel, because remember the metabolic hybrid, that metaphor, that if you want to lose fat, you need to burn fat. You're not going to lose fat if you're always burning glucose. It's fat that you need to burn. And as you start burning more fat, you realize that it's like the hump on a camel. That hump exists because it is a big source of fat for that animal to be using its own fat for energy. We have our own version of that. So you think about the average individual who's chubby, they have hundreds of thousands of calories waiting to be burned in those fat cells. It's just that their chronically elevated insulin is never letting them burn it. And so as the person starts making these changes in their diet to lower insulin, they now can finally start relying on their own fat for fuel. So it's no surprise that their hunger starts to come down. Let that be the natural way in which you're controlling your calories. Don't control your calories because you're forcing yourself to be hungry and eat less. Control your calories because you simply aren't hungry.
So I'll overlay this with my own sort of anecdotal experience. So I, every year, do a keto diet usually for about 8 weeks. This time it's going to go on for a little bit longer. The reason in part why it's going to go on a little bit longer is I've just learned more about what's going on in my body. And also because I podcast now and do a lot of speaking on stage and those kinds of things, I see tremendous variance in my ability for my brain to articulate what I want to say.
I feel the same way.
It's absurd.
Yes.
I was saying this the other night to the team that are with me here in Los Angeles, and I've tried to say it to so many people. As someone that can spend 9 hours a day trying to think of the next question to ask or trying to remember the research or on stage in front of 1,000 people trying to deliver a story or a point, I get to see variance, which I've never been able to explain.
Yeah.
Where some days I'll go up on stage or I'll be in a podcast and it's like my brain and my mouth aren't connected. And then on other days, specifically when I started doing ketosis or having a ketogenic diet, it just flows.
Yeah.
It just flows so well. And I was saying to my team, it feels like I'm looking at the world like this these days. Like I've got this intense, for anyone that can't see me, I just stretched my eyes, but like I've got this intense focus on the world. The other thing I've noticed with my diet is I get hungry, but not like I used to get hungry. And then very quickly after I start eating, I stop. I don't seem to be like doing like these, I used to kind of binge a little bit.
Yeah.
I used to have like longer eating sessions and my hunger goes very quickly. I also found that I didn't have these like fluctuating energy levels throughout the day. I don't crash anymore. I used to get like slumps.
So I want to stop right here and just explain a little bit what he was saying. Another says, I'll be back on track Wednesday. Right now, I need a good old Southern meal. Look, ain't nothing wrong with that. Getting you a good meal every now and then. But once you, what I've noticed for me is, like he's saying, is if you notice he said he usually do it like for a couple of weeks out of the year. So for him, it's like once a year. But he's doing it this time, extending how long he do it a year. So what I've noticed is this ketogenic thing, this hashtag natural sugar stuff, is something that you do for a period of time to get your body to reset. And then once you get your body back on reset, oh that boy, he is louder than me. Jesus. So, like I was saying, once you do these resets and do this ketogenic lifestyle change, it really is a lifestyle change. It's resetting your body for however long that you're on it, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 2 months, or whatever, for however long that is. Then once you try to go back to uh, not focusing so much as to adhering to the guidelines, you don't have to, because your body will take over. Instead of you trying to intentionally do things strictly by a guideline, when you come off of it, you will notice that your body is leading you and telling you what to do. Your body is telling you, I'm full, I don't need to eat anymore. Or it's telling you, I need more of this, I need more of that. Eat more greens, eat more water, drink more water. Your body will essentially start telling you, dictating you how to live your life. And it's not you trying to meal prep and plan to make your body change into it. No, this change is to help make your life, make your body change for life. I hope that y'all understand what I'm saying. You're making a lifestyle change. It's just a word. You're making a change, and that change in that short period of time is to train your body to do what you're doing in that short period of time, to do it for life. So essentially, you shouldn't be having to be on a lifestyle natural sugar change where you're dictating it for the rest of your life. No, 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 no. That's not what we're doing. You want to do it for, if it works for you and you find your body have been adjusted after 4 weeks, okay, then you're done. You don't have to pay attention to it no more. Your body's going to tell you what to do. You're only doing these things for a short period of time to where you focus on it, and then eventually your body's going to take over. So I noticed that with me, I don't have to pay attention to if I'm full on my servings anymore at this point. My body tells me after I've eaten it, my body says that's enough, or either I just lose the desire to finish eating it. I'm done. I'm done. And I just leave it at that. That lets me know I'm done. Whether I have eaten all of the portion or not, my body is saying I've had enough. I'm done. We're done with that. Let's stop. Let's move on. So that's what we're trying to get to, the point to where your body, you're conditioning your body to be back in control of your choices, instead of you just being out there uh flying off at the handles, eating any and everything and how much of however you want. So that's what we're trying to do. Put your body back into control instead of us allowing the food to control us. So let's see. Let me see. Da, 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 da. Cece said, I have to learn it's okay to leave food on a plate. Right, right. And that's something that, we have to tell ourselves. You don't have to have a clean plate. That's just something that's in America that we were taught. We were taught that you need to have a clean plate. A clean plate. That means you did good. Well, not if you got enough on that plate that 6 people can eat off of it. You don't need to have a clean plate. Yes, CC, or don't put as much on your, right. That's exactly PIA. Don't put as much on your plate. We don't, because we put way too much as Southerners. We put way too much on our plate. Guess why our grandparents ate off, right, ate off the sauces. Now we buying 10-inch plates. Them 10-inch plates, and that's a big old plate. That's a whole lot. David said, just start trying to leave a green bean on the plate, then a green bean and a little potatoes. So David said, try to do it a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. You don't have to clean the plate. And don't, and Sissy said, and don't lick the plate. Pause. Yes. Don't lick the plates. They were not, yep, they were right. They were not as big back then. You definitely, it could help you to, when you fix your plate, to get a saucer instead of the big old 10-inch plate, the big old plates. And that'll help you cut down on your service sizes. Thank you, David. I appreciate you. CC say no big back plates. No big back plates. Nope, nope, nope. Go back to screen so I can. Oh, oh, David, you a mess. You a mess. No big back plates, y'all. So it's essentially what we're doing is trying to change our bodies to do, to where we can get to back to a place to where we can hear it and where we can follow it. And it's not a debate. It's not to where you can continue to eat way out of proportions and eat things that you don't need to eat. And the cravings, you're gonna have cravings. you're going to have cravings, but you'll be able to have that stronger willpower to where you don't want it, or even if you do eat it, you won't eat as much. And then the good thing about when your body is back in control, say for instance, if you do fall and eat a candy bar, well, guess what? Your body is going to recognize that and burn that sugar so fast, instead of it taking 8 hours to break it down. Well, because you are in a better, your healthier body is able to break it down within 2 hours, or within 1 hour, or within 30 minutes, instead of your insulin levels being high over the whole day just for a candy bar. Well, because you have changed how your body metabolizes things, now you eat a candy bar and it only takes it about 20 minutes to break it down and burn it off and get rid of it. So that's essentially what you're trying to get to.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't slump anymore. And then the other thing, which a lot of people care mostly about, is the fat, so like belly fat. I have never seen anything that has stripped belly fat off me faster. And I'm talking in a matter of weeks that I could, count on one hand than doing the ketogenic diet. And if I could literally show a picture of my scales, because I have these digital scales on the screen, and it's just trundling along, and then there's this cliff edge where it goes directly down. And so much so, actually, that one of my concerns with the ketogenic diet is how the hell do I keep my muscle?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because my girlfriend, to her credit, when I did ketosis the first time, she was like, I've never, ever seen you look like this when I took my top off. But also, it was quite clear that my muscles had got smaller. I was lean as fuck, but my muscles were smaller.
Yeah.
So with caution this time, I did ketosis again, and I've been thinking, how the fuck do I keep my muscles?
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, let me just add a hearty amen. I'm an advocate of a ketogenic diet, although it can be applied differently across different people. But I would say anyone would benefit from having some modest period of time of elevated ketones, at least in some portion of the day. Now, how do you maintain muscle mass in the midst of such obvious weight loss? I can only speculate. Now, there are peer-reviewed studies that I can cite which do support the idea that a human can be on a ketogenic diet and have a total maintenance of muscle and strength. That is published. So we know it's possible, although that doesn't seem to be what happened with you. I would suspect that there were two things happening, possibly. Now, I'm speculating here, and I'm pretending to be your coach or your expert here. One could have been that you had relatively lower energy during your workouts because of a slight degree of dehydration. And then the other one would be calories, which I'll come back to in a moment. I just wanted to put it out there. So when insulin comes down, one of the many effects in the body is that another hormone comes down called aldosterone, which is one we've never invoked yet. But low insulin leads to lower aldosterone. When aldosterone comes down, the kidneys begin to eliminate salt and water much more rapidly. Now, that's not problematic, but it does mean that a person does have to focus more on hydration and salts. So if someone's going on this strategy and they exercise fairly often, you need to be much more focused on your hydration, literally drink more because you will be urinating more, which is partly why people's blood pressure gets so good so quickly. And just to pause on that point, if someone is on 1 or 2 blood pressure medications and they adopt a ketogenic diet, they usually have to stop their medications within 2 days because their blood pressure goes to normal so quickly that if they stay on the medication, they're going too low. So one could be that you were actually working out a little less intensely because of the dehydration. But then 2, it's possible that you were eating too few calories to actually maintain muscle. Muscle is a hungry organ. It is metabolically expensive for the body to keep that muscle on. And as you start to get leaner and leaner, it gets harder and harder for the body to defend that muscle. In fact, that's the difference between fasting and starvation. The longest known evidence of a fast was a man in the UK who fasted for 384 days, literally not eating or drinking a single calorie. He was under medical supervision, getting vitamins and minerals and water, and he went on to live a perfectly healthy life. But what was the difference? Why was that not starvation? Starvation is when you run out of fat. So you might have gotten to the point of so lean that you didn't have enough fat to burn to make enough ketones to fuel the brain. If you don't have enough fat to burn to make enough ketones, and the brain is saying, all right, well, I wanted to switch to ketones so that I could spare the glucose, but I can't. There's not enough ketones here, so I have to rely 100% on glucose. But if you're not eating glucose, now the body has to start stripping the protein from muscle, and it sends those amino acids to the liver. Then the liver is so capable, it will turn those amino acids into glucose.
So it turns my muscle
into glucose to feed the brain. So my comment then, finally getting to my answer is, in your version of a ketogenic diet, with your level of muscle mass and your inherent metabolic rate based on your body size and your activity, you probably ought to eat more fat.
I wasn't actually doing the blood test at that point. I'm doing it this time around,
Yeah.
but I wasn't doing the blood test, so I can actually see my keto levels.
Yeah.
So maybe I wasn't even in ketosis because I wasn't
Well,
having enough
and you
fats.
might have been, but it could have been that you were simply not eating enough calories. That
Okay.
I have to. So this is an instance where
That's what I'm trying to do this time. I'm trying to
eat
have
more
fats.
fat. Like
Yeah.
every time you're making a steak, put butter on there. And when you're drinking a cup of coffee, as crazy as it sounds, I drink yerba mate every morning. I will put
There
a
go
big
Jags
dab of
with
butter,
butter in
like
the
a
coffee.
big dab of butter in my tea, and I'm sipping on it while the world's still asleep. And
There go Jags with the butter in his coffee. Y'all done heard Jags say that? He put some butter in his coffee. Now all us be like, ew. Okay. Well, this is, he say they did that back in the service and it's something he adopted and he still do it to this day. So he is essentially telling you guys, if you are doing ketogenic and doing these lifestyle changes and you're losing you're losing body muscle, then you're doing it wrong, because that means that you're not eating enough calories for your body to essentially have enough fat, and then to the point to where it has excess fat to where it makes ketones. So it's saying that it doesn't have enough of the fat to burn, and so it burns you lose your muscle. So if you start to lose muscle, you know that you're doing something wrong. So PIA say, what's the difference of refined carbohydrate foods and the foods that contain carbohydrates? I'm not sure that I understand the question. Okay, so foods that contain carbohydrates. So I guess you're asking about like simple and complex carbohydrates is what I'm thinking. So simple carbohydrates will be things that are made up of, is essentially added sugars, things that your body can break down fast and causes your blood sugar to spike, causes you to have an increase of blood sugar in your body. So junk foods or just plain sugar, things that have sugar added to it, compared to complex carbs like a baked potato. So you want to get things, you want to eat things that will cause your body to have to work to break it down. You don't want to get things that as soon as you eat it, your body doesn't have to do much work to break it down and it's already in your system instantly. Because then that means it's in there instantly, it has spiked up your blood sugar, and then it takes a while for your body to work that sugar out of your system. So you want to eat those things that your body has to work to break down. You're causing your body to do work. Exercise is always good, and then it's breaking it down over time. You're not getting all of that at one instance. That gives it enough time to decide if I'm going to use this or if I'm going to burn it off. So I hope that answered your question, PIA. So essentially, he's telling you want to avoid those things. You want to eat more complex carbohydrates. You want to get rid of those foods that comes in that's processed. Essentially, refined carbohydrates is basically processed stuff. You want to avoid those. You want to eat things that are natural. If you're going to eat something that is a carb, eat a natural carb like a baked potato or a sweet potato or fruits or veggies that haven't been processed and have things added to it. So that will be the biggest difference. You don't want to eat nothing. That's why we tell you to pay attention to the labels. You don't want to eat nothing that has been had anything added to it that wasn't in it naturally already. She says, I never heard of butter in your coffee. Yeah, J3 said all the time. In the army, he said to make them feel full for longer, they will put the butter in their coffee. Yes, butter. Yup, yep, yep, yep. She said, I think the difference because refined or the white foods, some of them, because a potato inside essentially is white. But I think the white part comes from it because we would eat things that would be bleached to make it white. And so that will be that what makes it unhealthy because it's you're not eating it in its natural state. It has been altered. So yes, those things, anything, no matter what the color of it is, anything that has been altered, that's what makes it unhealthy, or that's what causes the issue. Whether it's white, brown, green, or yellow, it just means that it has been altered from its natural state. Because you have some foods that are naturally white and haven't been added to or bleached or whatever to for appearance or taste or whatever. So that's what you really want to pay attention to. Things that have not been altered or haven't had something added to them that makes it unhealthy. So that's where you got the kick where people would say white rice is not healthy for you. And they was just saying that because of the color, because naturally when you grow rice, it is not white. Or naturally when you grow what is it sugar, when you do sugar is not white. So yeah, that's what it is. That's it. Pi, yeah, the bleach stuff that is not healthy. You do not want to eat that stuff because that's you want to eat it in its natural form, because everything else processed, all the things, the process that it goes through to make it, to change its natural state, is not healthy for your body, and it causes the inflammation, and it causes your body to give you diseases. So that's what that is. Okay, let's see what else he's saying.
The kids haven't woken up yet. And so I know, because I want to keep my muscle as a guy who's almost 50. I find that during my strict ketogenic phase, and I'm currently in it as well, every January I go to kind of a carnivore diet. And I mostly do it to, one, lean down, but also to check any addictions and habits. I don't like feeling addicted to things. And my wife will comment. And even as an almost 50-year-old, it's fun to see my six-pack coming. I don't want to lose my mass, my muscle mass, because you have to work so hard to get it.
Yeah.
And what I find is if I increase my fat, I always get plenty of protein. But if I increase my fat content, I have an easier time maintaining my bulk.
So you
Are
want
there
to
any
eat
downsides of
eat
following
your
a
fats,
ketogenic
eat your
diet
fats.
that we need to be aware of?
The only downside I can articulate, so in fact, I didn't even finish because I distracted myself mentioning some of the benefits of ketones, but ketones are further anti-inflammatory. Like they directly reduce inflammation in the body by inhibiting inflammatory processes. And they also improve antioxidant defenses, so it helps reduce oxidative stress. So ketones do have benefits that go beyond even what we've taken the time to articulate. If there's any negative to a ketogenic diet, it could be that you acutely or you temporarily
He eating his
become
fat.
less metabolically flexible. Now, that's me invoking a term we haven't brought up yet. But metabolic flexibility is a term to refer to the body's ability to, when it eats glucose, to burn glucose. When it's not eating glucose, it burns fat. So you're shifting between the two metabolic fuels that we outlined earlier. When someone has been adhering to a ketogenic diet for some time, it's almost as if their body is stuck in fat burning mode. And that if you and I, being in such adapted ketogenic state as we are, if we were to go to lunch and eat 2 bagels and a sugary drink, it would take us a very long time to clear that glucose from our blood. Much longer than otherwise. Like, let's say we go out with the production team, they're eating a normal higher carb diet. All things equal, same body size, same activity, their glucose levels would come up and down in 90 minutes, perhaps. Yours and mine may take 180 minutes to come back down. So the person may say, well, gosh, Stephen and Ben are no longer burning glucose very well. And that's true. In that one moment, our bodies had almost forgotten what it was like to burn a bunch of glucose because we had adapted to fat burning.
So what about the gut microbiome?
Oh, yeah.
Because I told someone who is a nutritionist that I was doing a keto diet at the moment, and they said, oh, your poor gut.
Ah, yes. Well, what a naive thing to say, if I may gently reprimand your friend. There's no evidence to support that there's any harmful change in the microbiome. In fact, a paper was just published that looked at a man who went from a normal omnivorous human diet with abundant plant matter to a purely carnivorous diet, literally 0 carb, and they documented precisely no change in his microbiome, none whatsoever.
But is he eating plants?
No. Well, he had been eating plants. So the case study was a person eating a normal diet of plants and meat, a normal omnivore diet, and then looked at the microbiome and then adapted to a purely carnivorous diet, purely meat. And the microbiome didn't change at all.
What's the time period?
Months, I think. The problem with the microbiome, the reason I don't take microbiome research too seriously as a scientist is that it is a big black box. You came from the UK to London, to LA, to California. If we took a microbiome sample analysis of your time in the UK now, it would be different now. Even though you're eating the same, but you're drinking different water, you're breathing different air. I was just on a plane from Utah to California. Give me a day or so, I would have some sort of shift in my microbiome. So the microbiome can change in response to all kinds of things. The idea that you somehow have decimated your microbiome because you aren't eating fiber is absolutely false. That is completely false. Now, there might be a change in some of the population of your microbiome, more of one, less of another, but there's no evidence to suggest that's problematic.
Okay, so essentially what he basically just described is saying that some people think that when you do these lifestyle changes or you do like a ketogenic diet that you're destroying your bacteria in your gut, and that's not true. He's basically saying that it's going to be some changes, but your bacteria in your gut is still going to be doing the job that it's supposed to do. So we all know about creating a microbiome, because we try to do that in our gardens, trying to make sure that your area has what it needs to survive. And that's essentially what you're doing with your gut. You're feeding it or providing the right, look, like David said, the right surroundings, the right environment that it needs to function properly and break these foods down properly. So he's saying that the myth is false by you doing these changes, that you're destroying the bacteria in your gut. You are not.
Your microbiome is intact. Those bacteria do not die. They're just simply metabolizing other things. Maybe they're relying more on short-chain fatty acids. Maybe they're relying more on amino acids. They're not eating fiber, but there's still stuff in the meat or the eggs that the microbiome will eat.
But if eating lots of plants does give me a more diverse gut microbiome, then if I stop eating plants, I'm going to have a less diverse gut microbiome.
Yeah, but Stephen, but even then, there's a bit of an assumption built into the question, because do we know that the microbiome will be less diverse? The case study I just mentioned found that in this one single man, it didn't change his microbiome at all. It was the exact same populations in all the same proportions.
Because aren't the plants like feeding the bacteria?
Yeah. So the fiber is. So fiber will, but again, that's not the only thing bacteria can eat. Bacteria can eat fats. Bacteria can eat amino acids. They can eat glutamine, for example. They can even meat will have a little bit of glucose in it, where the muscle has something called glycogen, and so there's trace amounts of glucose in even the meat that you're eating. So I do not look at the argument that you're destroying your microbiome. That has no scientific support. You may be changing your microbiome, but who's to say that's a bad change? Maybe it's a better change. You certainly are feeling better. You're thinking better. You're getting leaner. Your insulin sensitivity's improved. Cognition's improved. I would argue if there is a change in your microbiome, it's probably one that's for the best.
I agree.
And no one can prove that wrong. As much as I just stated that comment in a speculative fashion, it's speculative because there's no evidence. This is why I look at the microbiome and just say, yeah, it appears to matter, but in ways that we don't know.
But you agree with the argument that if I sat here now and I ate a wide range of plants for the next, let's say, 6 months, when you analyzed my gut microbiome, it would be much more diverse.
I'm not agreeing to that.
Really?
I don't know if that's true. And again, I would cite that one case report I just mentioned now, which is a man who did this. They reported that the microbiome was identical, that there was no significant change.
That's just one man, though.
It was one man. It was a case report, which is not a randomized clinical study. So, but even still, with my speculation heavily handed here, I would say probably more plants would result in a more diverse microbiome. But I would say, but then the next step is a harder one, which is that good or bad? I don't know. Maybe all you're doing is promoting the growth of bacteria that make more gas because they're fermenting the fiber and you just have more flatulence as a result of it. Dietitians will say, well, a diverse microbiome is a good microbiome. Well, prove it. How do we know that? How can you prove that to me? As a basic scientist, I want to see the hard evidence, because what I can prove is that we can take humans who are overweight and diabetic and hypertensive, eating a standard American or global diet, and put them onto a ketogenic diet, which is going to be a much simpler diet, and yet every clinical marker gets better. And so if someone were to say, yeah, but sure, you've reversed your diabetes and your hypertension, but your poor microbiome, I would say, well, I don't care about my microbiome. I care about the human. And so if there's less diversity, but every single clinical marker has gotten better, perhaps more diversity is not what we want in our bacteria. I'm speculating, but so is the person who states that.
Okay, y'all, we're gonna stop right there because I think he just gonna go on and talk about other stuff outside of insulin resistance, and you guys can continue to watch that video on their page, Diary of a CEO. But essentially, let me try to make myself bigger. Essentially, in this last little tidbit that he was talking about, is just saying that you want to be more concerned of the human itself and not the and not be so focused on characteristics of the bacteria that's within the body, because obviously whatever bacteria that is in there is working. So essentially with this series we are done. Hey Jared, welcome in. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. That with these videos that we've been watching, that you guys have gained a more understanding of doing lifestyle changes and how you can tailor it to fit it so that it can work for you. And we're not focusing on it just to lose weight, but we're focusing on it to get you into a state of being healthy, your most healthier self, to where then you won't have to worry about these diseases and the weight will just come right off. Okay. Ask me how I know, because it's working for me. So I really encourage you guys to try it. Do your lifestyle changes, incorporate your fasting, incorporate your intermittent fasting, drink your water, your coconut water, um, eat your fats and your proteins. Get your body into a state to where the insulin is low so that you can switch over from burning sugar to burning fat, and then you want to get to a point to where you're burning excess fat. So that's what we want to do, and I hope that this series has helped you guys to understand even more. I do, Jerry. I do owe you. I do owe you one. I'm gonna have to get back to you. We're gonna have to get that done. Get that done real soon. Real soon. So I do hope I have opened up your minds and made things a little bit more simple for you to understand. Because if you anything like me, I've tried diets over my life many a times and have failed, and this lifestyle change has been the one that has been successful for me for the longest, and I'm going to continue this for the rest of my life. You hear me? This is, like they say, it's a lifestyle change. This is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. If you have any questions or you need some clarity on anything, feel free to reach out to me. My email is bayousugargarden@gmail.com. Feel free, and I'll help you explain to you the best of my ability. And just remember that you have to tailor things to work for you. Just because it worked for me in this fashion, you might have to tweak it a little bit for it to work for you. But it does work, you guys. It does work. There are so many people in our community that are doing this, and they can testify that it works if you just stick to it and do the right thing. Give your body a chance, give yourself a chance to be healthy. Okay. I thank you all for being here. I appreciate y'all for joining me tonight. Um, y'all go do y'all some dancing tonight. I might do some a little bit later. I wanted to do Sugar Shack last night, but I fell asleep. Y'all, I've been falling asleep. I One thing I noticed with doing this, I've been sleeping a whole lot lately. Usually I get like 4 to 5 hours of sleep out the day. My body been getting the sleep in. You hear me? Well, I've been sleeping some good sleep. While I'm waking up slob. I've been sleeping good. So I'm grateful for this change because that's what it's been doing for me. Oh, and it's been, yeah, good sleep. I'm sitting here, I be sitting watching TV and the show be good. Next thing you know, the show is watching me. And it ain't because I'm in a food coma. It's just because my body like, all right, it's time to take a little break. We gotta burn a little fat, burn a little sugar, burn whatever. We gotta do our job. Let's go to sleep. So I'm enjoying this. Thank you guys for being on this journey with me. Again, if you guys need any help, just reach out to me. I am more than happy to help you do so. Or reach out to anybody else in the community that is doing it as well. I hope that you all have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. And I will see you guys in these YouTube streets. Peace, love, and blessings, everyone. Bye.